Alright, so far we have seen that monetary policy can stimulate the economy in the short run. So increasing the money supply increases aggregate demand, which can lead to higher real GDP, lower unemployment, and a higher price level, which is inflation. So the relationship between inflation and unemployment rate then is of particular interest. It is actually at the heart of the debate regarding the power of monetary policy, whether it affects the economy at all. So in this section, we examine this relationship by looking at what we call the Phillips curve. The Phillips curve it observed the inverse relationship between the unemployment rate and the inflation rate. So this Phillips curve is a graphic representation of the inverse relationship of these two rates, the unemployment rate and the inflation rate. It's named after an economist, A.W. Phillips. So this graph, this curve, basically plotting wage inflation data versus unemployment data, plotting the inflation data versus unemployment rate over a very long period of time, and it actually revealed this relationship. The policy implication here implies a trade-off between these two variables, right? So that means in order to pursue lower unemployment, the cost is a higher inflation. Or if you want to pursue a policy prescription for lower inflation, then the cost is, higher unemployment rate. So this is kind of, when we look at the data in the past, it basically follow that. The logic behind this relationship is quite clear. Imagine expansionary, monetary policy, right? Banks increase money supply, right? Which more funds are loaned out. Employers then expand production and hire more workers. That will decrease unemployment. But when banks increase the money supply, it will increase the price level, which is the inflation rate. So the Phillips curve implies that the central bank can always steer an economy out of recession simply through this, increased inflation. So this ascribes a great deal of power to central banks. This claim ignored two things though. It ignored the role of expectations that consumers and workers may have about the future inflation, and it might not apply in the long run. So let's take a look at this graph. On the left-hand side, you're going to see aggregate demand and aggregate supply model again, and we are going to plot the Phillips curve, and this is a short-run Phillips curve, and which is kind of traditional Phillips curve that they invented in the 1960s. Alright, so we are going to show the effect of unexpected monetary expansion in the short run. Let me emphasize the word unexpected monetary expansion, and this is a short run, unexpected and short run. So initially, the economy is in an equilibrium at point A. What is point A? Long run equilibrium, right? Price level is 100, and the real GDP is at Ch18, right? And the unemployment rate is at the natural rate of unemployment, which is 5%. On the right hand side, point A is right there, 18.5 trillion and 5% unemployment rate as well. So now, unexpected expansionary monetary policy happen. Aggregate demand will shift to the right from 81 to 82. So the economy will move to a new short-run equilibrium at point B point. So at a short-run equilibrium of point B point, what happened is the price level is going to rise, right, to 105, which translates into an inflation rate of 5%. So the move to point B is brought about by inflation of 5%. And it yields a lower unemployment rate of just 3%. Okay, so you see two equilibrium points on the right-hand side in this new graph. So that plots the inverse relationship between the inflation rate and the unemployment rate. So this graph is known as a Phillips curve. When you connect those two dots, Okay, so clarifies that higher inflation can lead to a lower unemployment rate in the short run. This tradition or basic Phillips curve embodies the idea that higher inflation leads to lower unemployment and lower inflation leads to higher unemployment. So when we look at the real data, in the 60s from 1948 to 1969, right? So in the 60s, the economists noticed this high unemployment rate occur when inflation was low, and opposite is true. Lower unemployment rate occurred when inflation was higher. So these correlations are evident in the graph right here, right? And the inverse trend line is easily observed, and you can see that. Now, but in the long run, the Phillips curve ignore that, right? It kind of implies a powerful role for monetary policy. It implies that a central bank can choose higher or lower unemployment, right? Simply by just adjusting the rate of inflation in the economy. So, but we have seen prior to this section that monetary policy doesn't always have real effect on the economy in the long run. Okay, so next we'll consider in the long run, when the real effects of this monetary policy kind of wear off. After that, we will look at how expectation also mitigate the effects of monetary policy. So the long run Phillips curve is going to be vertical line rather than a downward sloping. And then over time, the effects of this monetary policy wear off. So unemployment rate will return to its original level, just like what we learned so a long time ago, right? That it will go back to the long run equilibrium, and the unemployment rate is going to go back to 5%. Now let's plot this long run Phillips curve on the next slide. Here we go. So in the short run, like we just did earlier, inflation can lead to a lower unemployment rate, right? Moving the economy from the equilibrium at point A to equilibrium at point B, boy. But in the long run, like I just mentioned, right here, okay, the effects of monetary policy wear off and the unemployment rate is going to return to 5%, and that is at equilibrium C, right? Because the inflation rate is already 5%, but it's not going to come down, but the unemployment is going to come back to the natural rate of unemployment at 5%, so at point C. So under normal economic conditions, without inflationary surprises at all, the economy gravitates back to this natural rate of unemployment. So in the long run, economy comes back no matter what the inflation rate is, correct? So this outcome implied a vertical Phillips curve in the long run, which means monetary policy can push the unemployment rate down, but only in the short run, okay? So it doesn't really have any effect, right? The monetary policy, again, I'm going to repeat myself, can only be effective if it is unexpected, and the inflation rate from the expansionary monetary policy is unexpected. However, unexpected inflation is harmful. So people then try, or they have an incentive to predict inflation to, the closest possible. They try their best to do so, right? So in the late 60s, Nobel Prize winning economists Edmund Phelps and Milton Friedman started considering macroeconomic expectations. They saw these as important since unexpected inflation is harmful, and this provides incentive to correctly anticipate what the inflation will be for this period or the next period. So these two economists, they hypothesized that people would adapt their inflation expectations to something consistent with prior experience. This is called adaptive expectation, okay, to prior experience. And people expect next year's inflation to be the same as whatever the recent inflation that they had. For example, and I'm going to take a look at these on the next slide, but let's give it an idea. For example, if the actual inflation is consistently 2% year after year, so people then don't expect zero inflation, right? They would expect 2%. But then, all of a sudden, if the actual inflation raises to 5% in 1 year, so the adaptive expectation theory implies that people then will expect 5% the year after that. Okay? There's a weaknesses associated with this kind of theory. Okay, so that means if the rate is accelerating, it means that inflation is going to get bigger each year. Adaptive expectation then cause people to 1 year underestimate inflation and then might overestimate inflation the next year. Okay, so basically, this adaptive expectation theory confirmed that expansionary monetary policy can, of course, stimulate the economy and reduce the unemployment only if it is unexpected. So future expectation based on recent experience. So let's try to go back to this example and see how that would go. Okay. So the basic reasons. Now we are going to go through the basic reasons of Friedman and Philip. The basic reason was that people are not quite as simple-minded as the basic Phillips curve implied, right? So given that surprise inflation harms people, they have an incentive to try to correct it to the best possible, right? And yet the data from the 60s was certainly consistent with the traditional Phillips curve, but Friedman and Philip challenged the accepted wisdom in the 1968 and then predicted that the Phillips curve relationship would not last. In particular, they actually predicted that the high inflation could not always deliver low unemployment, and they were correct. And we're going to see that we have what we call stagflation in the 70s. So that prediction was correct. All right, so let's take a look on the next slide. I'm going to explain it to you what this means in terms of what we call adaptive expectation. So let's pay attention to this column, actual inflation rate. Let's get started from the 0. That's for simplicity. Okay? All right. So then you started from 0, right? Now you're in year 2014, before the actual inflation rate is revealed, your expected inflation rate adaptive from the previous experience. You expect that the inflation rate is going to be 0 in 2014 as well. But the actual inflation turned out to be a 2%, right? When it turned out to be a 2%, then there's an underestimate inflation. Now, year 2015, right? Even though right now is 2%, right? So you base your expected inflation rate of year 2015 on year 2014, and you expect that 15 is going to be 2% as well. And actually it's 2%, then there is no error, right? So this is what we call adaptive expectation. So actual inflation is the current period becomes expected inflation for the future, right? So again, let's assume for the next year, since 2015 you expected it right, and then 2016 come around, you expect that to be 2% again, but in fact it turned to be 4%. So that means you have an error of 2%, right? You underestimated the inflation rate by 2%. So the next year you are going to adjust it, and you will think, okay, 2017 the inflation is going to be 4%, and so on. The important point is that with adaptive expectation, people do not always under or overestimate inflation. It could be a mix. So if next year inflation is less than this year, adaptive expectations will cause us to actually overestimate inflation. See, you overestimate it if it's too small, right? And so on. Okay, so basically you can change, but it will have an effect only in the short run. Now let's take a look at the real data from 48 and expanded it to 79. Remember, 48 to 68, the traditional short-run Phillips curves worked, but then all over the place in the 70s, the data did not show the same thing. Okay, so let's take a look. So what you just saw a moment ago, right here, right, data over the long run represent a picture of inflation and unemployment rates that look kind of random. So clearly, the unemployment rate is influenced by other factors than just the rate of inflation. All right, so I'm going to stop right here, and then I'm going to finish on the last 10 slides on the next video.